Good morning, everybody. It is Jeffrey from Jeffrey's Adventures. I am currently on the Oregon coast in a small town of Florence. Florence is on the coast. I'm actually in a campground about 4 miles south of Florence. It's a state park known for all of its sand dunes and all of the beautiful coastal enjoyment. I can't explain it to you. It's just like being on a shore excursion. Those of you that have just joined, I mostly do a lot of content on cruising, and today's episode is about my last cruise on MSC. I wanted to share with you my thoughts and what I thought of the cruise itself. Wow, there's a lot to MSC and their cruises. So give me just a second. I'll be right back. Here's the intro. Welcome back. I am at Honeyman's Memorial State Park, again 4 miles south of Florence, Oregon, which is right in the center of the heart of Oregon coast. Beautiful place to visit. There's tons of sand dunes. There are so many adventuring things to do, like renting ATVs and motorcycle riding. All the things that you could ever imagine when it comes to a sand dune, you can do it here. I just saw some kids actually sliding down on kind of reminded me of a set of skis, and they were just sliding down the mountain. Anyway, I wanted to share my experience with you guys on MSC cruises. I just got off the MSC Meraviglia out of New York, and I got home. I had a time to relax and get things back together and what I do otherwise. I finished all the episodes, and I hope you enjoyed this series. It was an outstanding time overall, but I wanted to give you guys my feedback of what we thought of our cruise, and what a better way to do that, to be here in the wilderness. And gosh, that's all it's about, right? So I drove from Portland yesterday. I got my RV set up, and I'm just kind of kicking back and just enjoying my weekend getaway, and that's what it's about. Now, I'll be going on more cruises here shortly. In fact, there's 2 planned in about 4 weeks from now, and that series will be out shortly. Probably the second week of September, the first episode should be airing, and it's my diamond cruise on Carnival Cruise Line. I'm going on 2 cruise ships, the Carnival Radiance and the Carnival Panorama. I can't wait to share that experience with you guys, because it has a lot of memory to me. I've been on those ships a few times, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I'll be right back. I'm just going to chase right to it. Comes to mind about the cruise itself is the ship. I think it was a beautiful ship overall. I will hand it to MSC when it comes to decor and how warm and inviting the ship was overall. The overall cleanliness of the ship was excellent. I never really saw anything like trash laying around, or like plates in the hallways, or cups in the elevators. That kind of stuff was always maintained very well. The tables were always maintained in the buffet area, which is hit and miss on a lot of cruise lines, and I will say that MSC did a really great job with that. The common areas, like the pool areas, they were always well maintained, and I never saw where a staff member wasn't cleaning tables, especially alongside the pool. One thing I did notice is that a lot of the chairs that had a towel on them, there was always an empty chair without towels next to them. So I think they do monitor that very well, and I thought that was something that other cruise lines could definitely take note of, especially when it comes to laying down your towel at 6 o'clock and then joining in at noon. So I will hand in that. Now I'm going to go into service. And service, I thought overall was very good. The MDR service was very consistent. I really never had to ask for something more than once. And if there was something of need, they tried their best. There was a lack of communication when it came to something that was not necessarily right. And I'll give you the example, the hot dog. I still can't get over that. It wasn't available. I guess the breakfast they ran out of breakfast sausages, and when they ran out of the breakfast sausages, they substituted hot dogs. And I was just blown away by that. I'll be honest with you, I never thought I'd see that ever, and I did. So that was a unique experience that I would say is different for me. I'm just not used to that. And the waiters told us that they ran out. And so when it came to time to leave that experience, we saw breakfast sausage on 5 other tables as we left. Bummer. That was kind of a disappointment to me. That kind of showed the integrity, especially when the head waiter came over and apologized that they ran out. And we're talking several minutes, maybe 25, 30 minutes after we had finished our meal, and we left the main dining room and found these freshly made breakfasts being delivered to the tables nearby our table with breakfast sausage. So kind of one of those things that I kind of spun me wrong. It wasn't necessarily a bad experience in the dining room or the service, but it was part of, just being honest with your guests. I think that's really the shortfall with it. Otherwise, the rest of the dining experiences were just consistent. I don't think that the dining room food itself was very, it wasn't, what's the right word for it? It was dining room food. It wasn't really anything spectacular. If I were to rate this to a different cruise line, I would say it's maybe a drop down from Carnival Cruise Lines. And definitely the separation between other cruise lines, I would never compare it to anything like Princess or Royal Caribbean. Carnivals, actually, I'm very excited to say this, and I'm going to be cruising on them, like I said a few minutes ago, again, and they have a new menu on the Radiance when I board, and it's inspired by Emeril Lagasse, which when I was a chef was somebody that I always enjoyed watching on the Food Network, and it's when I was a chef, some of the things that I used to watch him do on TV. Obviously, he was a TV host of a cooking show, but it was something that I could relate to as in my career. So back to the food, though. Overall, in the MDR, it was consistent, but when it came to the buffet area, I'm going to say it really needs an improvement. The food was always cold. It was never hot. I couldn't get a hot meal consistently. There were some hot items, but there wasn't like an entire meal that I pulled off of the selections that I had chosen that were hot. In fact, most of the time they were warm at best, and that's discouraging. Being a chef, the most important thing about food safety is hot food, and that means a lot to me because, bacteria, it does funny things, and that's one way that I think that MSC needs to really kind of pay attention to when it comes to a standard. And so I'm going to have to say that's something that they really need to focus on going forward. Let's go back into the specialty dining restaurants. Now, I'm going to say that I really enjoyed the food quality of the specialty dining restaurants, but When it came to the actual program that we purchased, which there are several different programs, we bought the 5-pack on the cruise. And with the 5-pack, we were able to choose 5 different restaurants, one being their steakhouse, and we ended up doing the teppanyaki, sushi, the seafood restaurant, and Hola Tacos. I felt the best experience out of all 5 of those was of the tacos. The tacos was the most interactive. The menu was wide open for us to order off of. It was unlimited. It had all the food items I enjoy to order in a Mexican restaurant. And so outstanding overall when it came to the for the program. Okay, now for the rest of the restaurants, I thought second place came with the teppanyaki because it was a dining experience that was outstanding. The service was also very good, so I have to give it all the way around. The service and the food were great. When it came to the seafood restaurant, I think it's taken third place. I felt that it had the best food overall, and that is really the right thing to say. The service was excellent, although the variety was very limited, and we only had 4 entrees to choose from, and there was, for those that are vegan or vegetarian, there was no options available to you, and there wasn't anything on the optional upgraded menu as well. It was strictly seafood, and I think I mentioned this in my vlogs, and that was for a seafood restaurant to not have a cup of chowder is kind of unusual for me. I kind of got what they were doing, but it's something that people expect at a finer seafood restaurant. And they had oysters on the half shell, and they had lobster, and they had many of the staples when it comes to seafood, but they just kind of fell short with that. So that was just my personal opinion, though. It wasn't anything that I would say was a deal breaker. It was still outstanding, and the ahi tuna I had was outstanding. I didn't mention this in the vlog, but I will mention it. The fish was frozen. So, and the reason how I can tell as a chef is that there is a little tiny, it kind of reminds me of liquid that comes out of frozen fish, and it was present. I didn't mention it because it still was outstanding. And then after doing some further research, I did read on the menu disclaimer that there is previously frozen food being served. So yeah, so again, one of those things that you could just you can do better. Fresh is fresh, and that's the way. If you were to order that entree that I ordered, it was around $40 just for the plate. So if you're gonna pay full price for that, I would expect fresh. And so that kind of gives you that little detail. Now the steakhouse, I think, was our biggest letdown overall out of all the specialty restaurants, and I thought they could have done a better job. I encourage you to watch that vlog because there was just too many things to it, and the bottom line to me is that's how we found out about these limited menus and not being able to, which brings me into my next thing, not being able to have our paid for drink package used in the dining room. So that leads me to that. So here's the thing. The drink packages, they need to improve or include them in the specialty venues. That's all there is to it. I mean, it's that simple. It's if I want a glass of wine, I have to buy it after having paid for a beverage package, and that's not fair. And that's my opinion. I'm sure many of you would agree. It's not like I was asking for their best bottle of wine or glass of wine. was just simply a soda. I couldn't get a soda. So, thumbs down on that. Just not cool. Not cool. All right, I'll be right back. I thought I'd show you some B-roll of where I'm at. This is the dunes that we are currently at. There's some scenes. Enjoy. Welcome back. Well, the sun was just popping out, and I thought I'd share. It's so gorgeous here. I can't say enough about how beautiful it is. I hope you enjoyed that. I flew the drone last night at the dunes of Oregon. That's the area. It's off of Highway 101, right out of Florence, Oregon. Absolutely gorgeous place to go visit. I do not do recreation vehicles, but I thought I'd share that with y'all. I thought that was really cool. Anyway, so back to MSC. Okay, so the beverage package. It was outstanding for, being able to get drinks. The other one thing that you can't use in your drinks is room service when you have Bella or the Fantasia. If you have Aurora Experience, then you get room service included. So, but I'm unclear, and I don't know this for sure, if you can use your beverage package or not. So interesting. Though when I called and asked room service for a Coke, they said no. It was going to be full charge for that. So yeah, beverage package not able. I'll be right back. All right, so welcome back. It is absolutely such a cool thing to be able to come back from a cruise and then get in my RV and come to this wonderful place. Well, if you ever have the opportunity to come to Oregon and camp, it's some of the best camping, I think, in the United States. You just got all the stuff. You got the big trees, you got the beautiful ocean, you got the cooler weather. If you come during fall or late August through the middle of October, it's the best time of the year, but I highly recommend, no matter what, make sure you get reservations where you stay, because I made these reservations 4 or 5 weeks ago, and it was a last minute thing, and that's last minute. Okay, and the whole state was sold out, and so I got on every morning for about a week. It took me about 10 days to get a campground, and this was the only one that had 4 days, and I like this area, so I jumped on it. And there's another one in Fort Stevens that I like to go to. So yeah, a little bit about Oregon for y'all. Anyways, back to MSC. Let me just say, let's go into the entertainment. First and foremost, I've never been on a cruise line where you pay for a show. That took me back behind the scenes, okay? I was wondering how I was going to present this to you because I've never experienced that in all my years of cruising. And I was just kind of taken back. So I will say this. I was pleasantly surprised, and I enjoyed it very much, and the cost was worth it. Would I do it again? Yes, I would. So isn't that was kind of a surprise, and to me, yeah. So I thought I'd share that with you. The rest of the main theater, free, no charge. Entertainment, it was really good. It wasn't the best, like going on Royal Caribbean and seeing a Mamma Mia. I mean, come on. I can't compare it to that. But I would say, Carnival does a pretty good job with their production shows. I would say it was close. And so if you're going to compare it to the cruise line, I would say it's close to Carnival. I think Carnival's newer ships have better shows, but some of the older ships like the Pride and the Radiance, or maybe even earlier, the Splendor, it's going to be right there. The comedian, he was hilarious. Really enjoyed both R-rated and the PG versions. He was he was just great. I thought the comedian was fantastic, and I would highly recommend seeing a comedian on MSC. So they go out and look for a headliner, and they bring him on the ship. So, although I think the best program overall for comedians go to Carnival Cruise Lines, especially because they have the Punchliner, and they bring in 4 comedians. So if you want a variety of different comedians, and with Carnival they have PG shows and then R-rated, and then they have explicit. So that's something that I would compare this to, and I think that they came close because of the talent they brought on the ship. Princess comedian was good, and on Royal I thought he was good as well. The shows that I saw in Royal. Very similar, but not. I think that they actually beat out Royal on this, so it's right there. Okay, so good job there. So make sure you make your reservation for that, or else you won't be able to see the late night show. That's the R-rated version. The PG was easy to get into because they put it in the main theater, but the R-rated show is in the back theater, which is a smaller venue. And I'm sorry I don't remember the name of that theater off the top of my head, but it was well worth going to see. Let's see, and now we're going to go into accommodations. So the room itself was really good. It was spotless. Our cabin steward was amazing. I would say he was probably the top 5 cabin stewards I've had on a cruise line. So that's excellent. He was very attentive. I never was out of ice ever the entire trip. And I asked day 1 when I first met him, and he had ice day and night. So that's rare, even on Royal, even on Carnival, Princess. I've never experienced where they have not missed it at least once or twice in a cruise, and that's okay. I'm not expecting it to be every single time, but it's just ironic that this guy nailed it through the entire cruise, and I thought that was outstanding. And I know that's just one thing. Anything else, it was on par. I got extra hangers without a clip. I needed one extra pillow. He asked me what kind I wanted, so it was just one of those things. No glass, dirty glasses were left in our room. He always took away anything that we brought in, like a cookie or plate with cookies or whatever. So awesome job there. He was spot on, and the room was spotless. Even in day and night service, which is hard to find. Usually they do one main cleaning during the day, but he'd come in and change out all the towels in the evening and in the morning. If you took another shower, after you go swimming or something, or you went to the beach, it was always clean. So great job there. I have to hand it to him. I liked the system where they had it in place where you click the button to let them know that you're out of the room. And then he would come in and service, so you never saw him. He never was in your room while you were just when you were. He didn't need to clean your room while you were in there because he knew that the light wasn't on. So it was a great communication device for me to let him know when I went to breakfast, because 99% of the time, by the time I got back from breakfast, my room was already serviced. So great job. Outstanding. The balcony was excellent. We had no obstructed view, and I'll put a link down below of the cabin number we were in. We were in an Aurora room with the Bella experience. It was just an upgrade that I was offered, and I took it because being a travel agent, they did that for me. I didn't ask for anything extra. It was just something they had done, and I thought that was very nice of them to do. They didn't include the Aurora experience, which is fine. The Bella experience was fine for me, but the accommodations were. So in fact, the cabin steward had mentioned a couple times during his visits as saying, yeah, that's included, but in reality it wasn't. It wasn't a part of our dining or our experience. So make sure when you get on, and that's leads me to my next part of what MSC does differently, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, because if you want to get on a great valued ship, that would be the Bella entry level experience with MSC, and then they have Fantasia, they have Aurora, and there's a couple others. Yacht Club, which is just another experience entirely with MSC. And one day maybe I'll share that with you one day. I don't know. Those rooms, they're around $4,000 per person generally for that experience. Now you can get on a shorter cruise and get it for a little less, or a lot less. But I don't think I'd want to do that myself. I can go on another cruise line like Princess and get that experience and not necessarily have the I guess it's the isolation or the designated areas on the ship. So, and what I'm talking about is the Yacht Club. And the Yacht Club is exclusively for those that book in the Yacht Club, and that is an experience. And then Aurora, it does include extras like room service. It includes special features like within your packages that you purchase, upgrade packages like the drink package or dining experience. So reservations, priority reservations for dining. And then they have Fantasia, which is just a little bit better than the Bella. And then Bella is the basic. You get your accommodations and your MDR food is included. And then everything extra is really a la carte from there. And so there's a lot of options when you book an MSC cruise. You can go in at really low price and just experience it, and then you can go all out. So, and those different levels have different levels of service, and they all have different levels of experiences. So, it's confusing. That's the word I use. Because there's no signs or there's no instruction manual. That's the best way to describe it. I honestly, I think that is, if you book and let's say you just booked it on Expedia.com, and being a travel agent, please understand, I know that's what people do, or they go to MSC.com. If you don't read all the fine print of what everything that is included, you're going to wonder why you didn't do it. Why didn't you upgrade to Aurora? Why didn't you do the yacht club? Because those experiences are all unique, and there might be something in those experiences that you wanted. And if you didn't have those experiences, it wouldn't be included in your cruise fare. So it's confusing. And so I think that this is an area of opportunity for MSC. And I know that MSC, I am an agent, so I do have an agent support, and I have spoken with them. I've talked to them about what I feel they need to work on, or what they do great at. And they have shared with me that they have had similar feedback and they want to be better. That is my impression. They want to be different than the other cruise lines as well. So that told me a lot. And my point is this: if they want to be better and if they want to be different, then they need to do it better overall. And that means don't have, I guess the right word is, don't make your packages confusing, because they are. And if you're a first-time cruiser and you went on MSC, try a different cruise line. That's my point, because you won't experience what you experienced when you went on MSC. That's my point. So I have a brand new client. He is booked on a different cruise line, and him and his wife have never been on a cruise, but I know for sure that when they go on this cruise and when they come back, they're going to call me and they're going to book another cruise, because that cruise line that I'm putting them on is the cruise line that I know that is going to fit them. That's the difference. And that's why I'm bringing this up to you guys. That's why I wanted to share this experience with you guys today, because I feel that after 50, almost 60 cruises in my lifetime, if not more, people ask me all the time, well, why don't you know? Here's a good reason. Here's the real reason. The real reason is, when I was growing up, my mom was a travel agent. So we used to go on family vacations all the time, and a lot of those vacations were on cruises. So I started cruising in the 70s, and I'm not exaggerating. So with that being said, there are a few that we don't remember. And I've asked my mom, I've compared my notes, and even using Shipmate, they don't have American Cruise Lines on it. They don't have Sitmar Cruise Lines. I had to make up my own to figure it out. And those cruise lines are no longer in existence. So that's what I'm talking about. I think I figured them all out, but there's a couple confusing. But if you go on my Shipmate, the ones that I've logged, it shows me at 56 or 57 cruises, with about 4 more ahead of us. And so that's why I say I'm near 60. All right. So I've always been that way. And people are, well, has it been 45 or 60? But the reality is, I've been on a ton of cruises and a ton of cruise lines, and I've enjoyed every one of those cruise lines. And that's why I'm sharing this experience with you guys today, so that you understand that MSC is not for everybody. It's not for the first time cruiser, and if it is, that's something that you might want to take in consideration when you get on. That maybe you're gonna get a different experience if you go on a different cruise line, and I recommend certain cruise lines for certain people, and what I mean by that is that everybody's different. Everybody has a different opinion, and that's why I say this is my opinion of MSC Cruise Lines. So those of you that are saying, "Oh, they're not like this," or they're like that, this is my opinion, and my opinion might not matter to you at all. But those that follow me on YouTube, and thank you subscribers, and thank you for those that do follow me on Instagram and all the other media platforms. This is why I'm doing this. I enjoy doing this. This is what I enjoy doing. I retired now, I'm almost on my 3rd year of retirement from being a chef. I am a full-time travel agent. I'm a full-time vlogger on YouTube now, and that's what I'm doing. So this is why I'm sharing this with you. It's not to say I am the world cruiser. I'm not. Absolutely. I've met people that have been on more cruises than me. I've met people that live on a cruise ship, and I know this much, and other people know this much. So it doesn't matter. Again, this is just my opinion, and so that brings me to the overall experience of MSC Cruises. So I will share this with you as a general knowledge. I feel going out of New York is absolutely a different experience. I experienced a New York cruise with Carnival Cruise Lines and with MSC now. And I'm going to just say that New York is different. It is not the same as if you go out of Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Long Beach, Seattle, Vancouver, Washington, Anchorage, Alaska. I think New York is the most difficult city to cruise out of all the cruise line or cruise ports, in my opinion, especially Brooklyn. The traffic alone to get to the ship was a nightmare, and we took the subway. So, we took the subway in because we knew it'd get there. But when we took the Uber from the subway station to the port, it was another experience. It was another hour experience. It was only 4 miles away. So, it's just, there's a lot to New York. And New York people out there, just let me say, I applaud you all for having to deal with that traffic and your road system and your transportation system, because that is an amazing experience on its own. I enjoyed thoroughly visiting New York, and I do recommend it because of the experience. But that's something that I would not compare to a different cruise port. I just wouldn't. All right, so did I enjoy it? Yes, overall I enjoyed it. I saved this for last, and that's because the private island, I think, was the experience for me that made one of the best experiences I've had on a private island. Now, I don't want to tell you it's an amusement park, because it's not. I just like what they did. I think that, being conscientious of our environment, MSC did the right thing. And when I look at the island and where it is and what it looks like today, and seeing some of the photos they had available, I did not vlog that. I looked it up on the internet, and there's a story behind that island. And it used to be a place that a Chinese company owned the island, and it was a dump for their metal. And they would ship from Canada their used metals, scraps, and that's where that island was. That's what the island was, is a dump. And for them to turn it into the oasis that it is today, to me, touched me. And I thought that It was very special to see that a company, a cruise line company, invest the money that they did to preserve it. And so every time I looked at the island or a palm tree or a coconut on the floor, it was just because it reminded me that it's alive. And the beaches were clean. The experience was good. It was better than most. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. But I changed my mind. I thought, wow, what an experience. So yeah, you can watch that episode. I do a little tour. I also shared some snorkeling experience there. I recommend MSC if that's in the itinerary. So yeah, I thought that was outstanding, and I that's why I'm sharing it with you today. I thought it was one of the highlights of the cruise, and it made it for me. All right, so overall, would I cruise on MSC again? And my answer to you is yes. In fact, I am looking at going again because of that experience I had with that island, and I want to see more. Also, they have a couple new ships coming out, and they're opening a new port in Galveston, Texas, and I will most likely go out of that port again in the early or late winter of this year. In winter, in February, March, beginning of next year, 2025, I'm looking to go out of Galveston. And if I do, it won't be until the following year I can go again on MSC, which, that's cool. All right, I'll be right back. I have to take a commercial break right here. I'll be right back. Did you get the commercial? What was it? Write a comment down below. I always am curious to see what you get. Anyway, back. I'm so glad that you hung out with me during this whole thing. And if you are, I appreciate it very much. It means a lot to me. I did just update poolerstravel.com. Now it has Jeffrey's Adventures. Now coming, let's see, it'll be after this airs. Coming soon will be my schedule that I'll have on there as well for Jeffrey's Adventures and the travels. Also, I have included a countdown for the next adventure, and I've also added the merch store. And by the way, the merch store is now open. I just have a t-shirt and a mug and a sticker. I just do it because the money that's raised off of the merch store is for the YouTube channel. It just supports camera equipment, cruises. All the money that's raised on that merch store goes directly back into what it takes to make the channel run. So those that have ordered, thank you. I appreciate it very much. The link is also down below, and you can take a look at it. Again, I just ordered a sample of the new t-shirt, and if it's available or it's done on time before I leave on my next cruise, I will have it on embarkation day and I'll show you guys, okay? The other thing that's coming up is, again, my Diamond Cruise, which is on Carnival Cruise Lines. I'm going to be doing a back-to-back cruise or side-to-side on the Carnival Radiance and the Carnival Panorama. All right, so in the first week, I have invited my neighbor, Chris, to join me, and the second week, Cheryl will be with me. Now, those of you some of you asked, where's Cheryl? And Cheryl still works, and she is in the medical field, so she doesn't have the time off I do. So she comes with me 3 times a year, And I'm looking forward to it because this is our anniversary cruise and my diamond cruise. I can't wait to share that with y'all. I will be aboard the Panorama for the diamond experience. I can't wait, and I'll share that experience with y'all. So thank you again for watching. I will be doing another Coffee Time episode from Mount Hood Mountain, which is on the east side of Portland, and that's in the Mount Hood Wilderness. I will be there in 2 weeks, and that will be 2 weeks. We will be going over what's going on the carnival, what's planned for the Carnival Radiance and the Panorama for you guys, and all my upcoming cruises. I do have some more planned. I have not announced. My passport still is not here yet. I'm working on that now. The latest update is it's 14 weeks now for renewal. So now I heard from my friend here that lives in Oregon, it took her 4 months to get her passport, renewed passport. She actually had to call a senator and ask for support. And I know that sounds funny, but she told me, she gave me his contact information, said it worked because she got her passport a couple weeks later. So who knows? All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. I appreciate you watching my channel and support always, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.